How women objectify men. While the concept of objectification is typically attributed to men objectifying women, and men certainly do objectify women, I argue that we all objectify constantly. What does it mean to objectify? It means viewing others merely as a means to fulfill our narrow personal interests. In Kantian terms, we treat them solely as a means, not as an end in themselves. We fail to recognize that they have a full subjective inner world of their own. A person who relates to others exclusively this way might be called a psychopath, narcissist, or Machiavellian. Particularly in narcissism, the individual sees others as mere supporting characters in the grand performance of their own life. People in a narcissist's world only have value insofar as they serve the narcissist's purpose. Fortunately, most people aren't pathological narcissists, but we all have a tendency, which we hopefully overcome, to reduce others only to the function they serve for us. Why? Because it's tempting. It's tempting to be a tyrant for a moment, to get what we want immediately without needing to negotiate for it. The Torah is well aware of this human tendency to objectify, which is why one of the 10 commandments directly counters this instinct. Thou shalt not covet. Coveting isn't just about romantic relationships. It means wanting something for oneself, desiring, yearning. So, what's the problem with desire? Of course, it depends on the object of desire. The commandment forbids coveting things that don't belong to us, another's house, wife, property, and so on. Why does the Torah specifically mention a woman among the things not to covet? In part because it recognizes that physical appearance, especially for men, is extremely influential. Whenever a man desires someone based solely on their external looks, he is clearly objectifying them. He is not desiring to love her, but acting on a basic animal-like impulse. The Torah reminds us that we live moral lives, both individually and as a society, if we overcome this impulse. Objectification based on appearance is more common among men because they tend to be more visually oriented. But women also objectify, and I see it all the time. This happens when they want to get married more than they want a genuine relationship, when they're more interested in securing their family or financial future rather than in truly getting to know someone. By being preoccupied with relationship milestones, they can showcase externally a couple's getaway, international travel, jewelry, meeting parents, and so on. The character Barbara in the movie Don John is a perfect example. She withholds sex from Johnny, her boyfriend, not because she wants to deepen their connection, but so she can tell her friends they've been dating a month and haven't slept together yet. Because that means she's in a relationship based on true love and emotion. Barbara is a fascinating character because there's a contradiction in her behavior. On one hand, she's very aware of her sexuality and her power over men. On the other hand, her concept of love is entirely emotional, completely disconnected from physicality. That's why she's obsessed with romantic movies. It's like her version of pornography, her escape. Instead of dopamine from physical attraction, she gets her dopamine from content that appeals purely to emotion without grounding, without considering human nature. The movie essentially shows us that these two extremes, body only or emotion only, are unhealthy. Barbara is addicted to romantic movies while her boyfriend is addicted to porn. Both the film and Judaism, as I understand it, see love as something whole that respects both body and soul. Barbara clings to an ideal, purely spiritual love, rendering her incapable of experiencing love in the physical world. Eventually, every man appears to her as just another horn dog because she refuses to accept that men have natural desires that aren't necessarily directed solely at her. A person should strive to manage their desires, give them direction, and not covet. But we all sin, and sinning doesn't mean we don't deserve forgiveness. But in Barbara's view, simply being a normal man, someone who manages his desires and might occasionally appreciate a beautiful woman in a TV commercial, is an unforgivable crime. Barbara has a very childlike conception of love, which isn't surprising since she is a narcissist. Narcissists are generally stuck in a childlike psychological stage, craving recognition and attention. Perhaps Barbara desperately wants to be seen beyond her physical self, to the point where she's created a disconnect between her body and sexuality and her inner self. When she tells her friends she hasn't slept with Johnny a month into their relationship, it's supposedly proof that she's loved for her personality. But it's exactly the opposite. Her personality is the last reason Johnny is with her. It's all a facade, a lie, because Johnny is addicted to sex and she doesn't actually love him, but that doesn't matter. What's important is the image, looking like she has a relationship straight out of a movie. So that's how women objectify men. Thanks for watching.